Amen. Praise you for tithing into the church and for sowing a seed for the pastor and the church anniversary. And I am here to introduce our speaker of the hour, Elder Linda Dabney. In the Lord. Amen. I know she has seeked his face for a word. So when God used her, I pray that you listen for the word that he has for you. Because there's something for us if we just open our spiritual ears. So after the choir, you will hear from other than Elder Linda Dabney.
However But I thought about God gives us so many weapons to fight. You know, and we think it's just fasting, and that's good. And we think it's just praying, and that's good. But church, I'm here to tell you, we are in a time that we've got to be aggressive. If it's with your children, if it's with your finances, if it's with the government, we've got to be aggressive. And you know who has to do it? We have to do it. We have to do it. So I came today to talk about the weapon of praise. And the scripture today, I'd like to say, praise in warfare leads to victory. Do you believe that? Yeah. You believe that? See, it's hard to pray when you're going through something. It's hard to praise when you're going through something. But the old saints used to tell me, today is a good day, yeah? Things are going well, yeah? Your pockets are not empty, yeah? But they said the day will come when something shall befall you and you can't pray. But you better have those prayers stored up. You know what? Because your day is coming. That's where we live. This is where we live, move, and have our breathe and have our being. But I thought about the scripture of 2 Chronicles 20 and verse 22. And it says, O Judah, ye inhabitants of Jerusalem, believe in the Lord your God, so shall ye be established. Believe his prophets, so shall ye prosper. No. Is that it? Okay. So it says, and they rose early in the morning and went forth in the wilderness to Tekoa. And as they went forth, Jehoshaphat stood and said, hear me, O Judah, and ye inhabitants. Believe in the Lord your God, and ye shall be established. Believe in his prophets, and ye shall prosper. And when he consulted, this is what he said when he consulted people. I'm going to tell you what was going on. King Jehoshaphat had gotten word that there was going to be a war, and there were going to be 3 tribes. And he told the king, he said, listen. This is the person told the king, he said, listen, there's going to be a war. He said the enemies are coming, and there are going to be some big armies. I'm just paraphrasing. And so what happens is, he says, he did some things. He consulted the Lord. He said, Lord, he said, Lord, he said, I'm committed to the situation, God. He said, I acknowledge only God can save this nation. He prayed that God had favor because his people were God's people. And he knew that God had favor among them. He knew God was sovereign over the situation. He praised God's glory. He remembered the promises that God had made to the people. He gave complete dependence on God, not himself, for difficult times. And so he knew that. He admitted that he needed God. And so, you know, he was told, gather the people in the village. And he began to tell them what was going on. So they came with their families and they stood before the priest, or the king. And God sends a prophet. He always says a word. He has a ram in the bush. And so the prophet comes and he says to them, be still. He said, the battle is not yours. He said, the battle is mine. He said, you don't have to fight this thing. You see, so many times in our human way, we want to fight. We don't have to fight. But God has then proved me. He said, if I said it, can I not perform it? Sometimes, you know, we got to realize that God is holy. And he's complete in his word when he gives it to us. You know, why do we praise? Because praise is the atmosphere of the throne in heaven. You want to get close to the throne, start praising. Praise is where God lives. Praise provides access into his presence. You want to get in God's presence, you want to get into that throne, begin to pray. You see, there are some things you can't fix. When you have any control, you can't fix it. You know, you pray about it, prayer's not coming. It's not being answered fast enough. So you got to start praising. You got to open up your mouth and start praising. Why? Because we're created to praise. And God delights in it. God inspires it. God is doing. He's doing your praise because he does so much for you. When you rise up in the morning, and that's God letting you rise and see a new day. When you lay your head down, you don't know if you're going to get up in the morning. But when you do, you owe the praise to God. That praise is due him. And then God commands it in his scripture that you praise him. You know what? Jesus was a good example to model praise. Because that's just what he did in Matthew. And then praise is a God-given garment. You know what? When you're going through and that thing is heavy on you, guys, I'm going to give you some more clothes. It's like being when you're cold. You're in a room and everybody else is fine, but you can't get warm. And that's how it is. Your spirit is low. And you just barely making it. But God said, don't worry about it. He said, I'm going to give you some more clothes. I'm going to give you a garment to ward out that spirit of heaviness. That's what I'm going to do for you because I love you so much. I'm not going to leave you hanging out there. And then, you know what? You start praising. Doesn't praise stir your faith? You can't see your way out. But start praising. Come on, start praising. Standing in there, no matter what the doctor says. I looked at my sister-in-law laying in that bed in the hospital, and it broke me because it reminded me of when my father was going through the same thing she was going through. And she was struggling to breathe. And it was the last time I saw her, that particular time, it had been maybe 4 days, and she'd yet to open up her eyes. She'd yet to be breathing on her own. But you know what? God is faithful. Because you know what? He brought my dad out of that. Not once, but twice. So I got to remember. It's like the Holy Spirit taps you on the shoulder and says, remember, I'm that same God. I'm going to leave you. I'll never forsake you. You know what? That's why we war. That's why we pray. Because that's what God does. I want to tell you that God releases his power against the enemy when his people praise. So that's his job. That's his job. He wants to release his power to us. Even on your job. Some crazy stuff happens on those jobs. But you know what? The prophet told the people, you be still. You be quiet. Sometimes you talk too much. Let God work. He said, I got you. Don't you worry about it. And you're an example. If you're telling God what you need and you're putting your requests before him, I love to say, you walk upright, don't you? You love the Lord, don't you? You keep his commands, don't you? Well, he keeps his word. He keeps his word. If he says that you will be the lender and not the borrower, he keeps his word. If he says that he's your shepherd and he's going to lead you, if he says that you are his sheep and a stranger you will not follow, he means that. He means that. If he says that your basket is blessed going in and blessed going out, he's still the same God. But in Chronicles 2:20 and 22, they were told to sing, to start singing, not to fight, because the battle wasn't theirs. I love this story. You don't have to fight, you just sing. And you know what? The enemy, they were encamped all around them. They had a strategic plan. They were coming even from behind them. But you know what? When the priests saw that, they started blowing the trumpet. And do you know what Judah did? They started singing. They were praising their way through. Because they knew they had an assignment. And they kept everything in order for what they were supposed to do. They started singing. That was the weapon. That was that praise. And then before they got where they were going, the enemy had turned on themselves and killed one another. Can you believe that? That's confusion. Praise brings on confusion. You know what? Because faith always wins out. God never loses. That victory belonged to God. And so as they were praising their way through, God was strengthening their faith. He was strengthening their belief that God had their back, that he would never fail, and he would be there for him. I was also reading that about that spiritual battle in 2 Corinthians. And it says that it's time to take your eyes off people. We get on these jobs and we're looking at somebody. We're telling somebody, this is what they're doing to me. This is what they said to me. You know, you're on a job for money. That's why you're there. It's for increase. You're not supposed to be worried about your neighbor, what they're doing or what they're not doing. What has God sent you to do? He wants you to show your faith. He wants you to praise your way through. When they come to you and they start talking about, well, he did this, he did that, you didn't sow that. That's not your work. That's not God's work. You do what he says do. You're the example. You don't fight on a human level. You can't fight on a human level. Because that's like children. I hit you because you hit me. Let me tell you, that's like getting in that rink with Merriweather. You ain't no match for him. You are not any match for Merriweather. You know why? He's conditioned. He does his exercise. He eats right. He prepares. He's conditioned. We are not a match for Merriweather. Same thing with the enemy. We're no match for the enemy if we're not prepared. So we have to be prepared. And one of our weapons is praise. You know, so when things are going on, we're praising our way through it. Why? Because our mind is stayed on him. Right? Our mind is stayed on him. And we know that he is a faithful God and he is just. And that he reigns on the just and the unjust alike. So we got to be in preparation. You know what? He fights for me. He fights for you. In Matthew 21:16, Jesus quoted a Psalm 8 and 2 when he said, from the lips of children and infants, you have ordained praise because of your enemies to silence the foe of the avenger. Now look, the children, the least of us can do it. The least of us. The children can praise. Now if the children can praise, can't we praise? Can't we praise? See, it's not enough to call pastor every time something goes wrong. What if you can't get pastor? You can't, he ain't picking up your text. You know, you don't know what pastor's doing. He's probably praising his way through just like we are. Praising his way through. But the thing of it is, you got to hold on to what he gives us Sunday after Sunday, Wednesday after Wednesday. That word is not to return void. So you got to do your part too. I thought that, you know, the least of us, the children, but God has already judged Satan. You believe that? Satan's been defeated. He's a defeated foe. But when we praise it, it exalts God and the spiritual rulers and judgments that God has already written. So God has already, there's judgments on all those things that are happening to us. And Ecclesiastes says there's nothing new under the sun. If you got medical problems, somebody's had it before you have. If you're going through a divorce, somebody's been there before you have. If you've lost a loved one, somebody's been there before you got there. If you're waiting on a husband, you're not the only one. There are people that are waiting on husbands and babies for years. But then God wanted to give them the desires of their heart. He wanted to give them the right wife, the right husband. That's what God wanted to do. He loves you that much. So you can wait on God, but do your part. In the midst of it, be praising. Praise your way out. And then praise acknowledges the victory Christ already won. Jesus is already far above all the rule, all the authority, all the dominion, and every name in his age. He's above all of that. Christ's victory is currently credited to the church. Did you know that? The victory for Christ is credited to the church. To the church. That means that it's because we're here, because we believe, because we receive, because we accepted him. That's the victory. Because that was the plan, that he would draw all men unto him. But when we're in these battles, praise speeds up the victory of in our battles. You know, if we fall into a battle and we start crying and complaining and weeping, you know, we keep going on and we just talk the problem. My Bible says you have what you say. You have what you say. So if you're always, God ain't going to fix this, there ain't enough money, we can't do this, we can't do that. Well, you have what you say. But if I can say, I'll never be broke another day in my life, I can say that. I can say that until that seed takes root in my heart. But I can say that because I walk upright with God. I keep His standards. I do what He says to do. You know? And those are the things. We can demand those things to come back to us in our lives if we do what God says to do. But you know, there's one thing that the church doesn't like, and that is to do a little bit of work. Just a little bit of work. Because you know what? When I'm going through, I need you to know I'm going through. I need you to be pulling on God with me. You know, because that gives me strength as well. I know that God can fix it all. But when we get together, let me tell you, can we move mountains together? I thought about this. You know those little fire ants? You can go to bed and there aren't any ants in your yard anyplace. But you can wake up the next day. You know why? Because all the soldiers are doing their job. One by one. Boy, they're building that ant bed. One by one. Everybody's in one accord. It's strategic. They're doing what they came to do. You know? And that's to build their bed. Can't we do that? I believe we can do that. We can all come together. And we can do what God has called us to do. We need each other. We're a piece of a puzzle. We have different DNA, fingerprints. I can't be like you. You can't be like me. But that puzzle that we have, you have a place in that puzzle. And until you get in your rightful place, we cannot be complete. Because our puzzle won't be complete. But I was reading in Jeremiah 51, 20 and 23, and the Lord was speaking. And this really blessed me, because this is what He said. You are my war club, my weapons for battle. With you I shatter nations. With you I destroy kingdoms. With you I shatter horse and rider. With you I shatter chariots and drivers. It's your praise. It's in your praise. With you I shatter man and woman. With you I shatter old man and youth. With you in your praise, I shatter young man and maiden. With you I shatter shepherd and flock. With you I shatter farmer and oxen. With you I shatter governors and officials. So you worried about Donald Trump? We got to worship. We got to pray our way through. Do we know who we are? Do we know what weapons we have? But with you and you and you and you and me, this is what God says He can do. You know the war has got to be won. So we got to stand up and start fighting and see the victory of God. So when you're in the midst of people and you know that you know that you know that you need to bring praise on the scene, you got to start. Sometimes it's just a song. You know, sometimes it's just, the Bible says, it's with love and kindness have I drawn thee. Sometimes you have to stop people from all of that kind of stuff and say, well, you know, do you trust God? Do you walk upright? Do you believe His word? Do you believe He can do it? Do you believe that your latter days are your greater and better days? I think so. I believe that. Do you believe because you cast your bread across the sea that in many days it will return to you? I believe that. So when you get old, are you going to be hungry? No, I'm not going to be hungry. But you know what? We take what we have. I thought about this. I grew up in a home with 9 people. And there were times that I imagine, I didn't know because nobody talks money or lack in a family, that my family probably didn't have a whole bunch to do what they would like to do, or my mother had enough to cook what she wanted to cook. But she took what she had and she made a meal. You know, and it was wonderful and everybody was full. But then I thought of my grandmother with 14 people in the house. I understand why my grandmother would be singing, the Lord will make a way. I understand because when they grew up, it was during the Depression time. You know, and my mom tells a story of how she had 2 dresses and 2 pairs of socks, you know, and this, that, and the other. They had to worship their way through. They didn't have a choice. And then we get to the point now that we're not hungry anymore. We don't think we have to worship anymore. You know, we don't need God anymore. We can go somewhere and make it happen, right? Also, as long as it's happening, we're entitled now. We're entitled. So we don't need God anymore. You know what? Because we can make it happen. We can keep those lights on if we got to go to the day money borrowing place, lending place, whatever it is. You know what? You're just going to be in debt. You'll never get them paid off. But if you wait on him, if you begin to just praise him and thank him for everything that he does for you, that won't go void. It will not return void. You know what? And God's going to give that. But everything that you give God, he gives back to you. You know, so if you're praising him, he's going to praise and bless you. Because he says he lives to make intercession for you. He lives to pray for you. He lives for you to come in and sup with him. Take your shoes off, you know, and sit down. He wants to be with you. You know, it's like the men that are the priests of the home. You know, a woman is happy to go home when her husband is loving and kind to her. You know, she's happy to go home. You know, but a man is even happier to go to his castle when he knows that his wife is there and she's happy. My husband always says to me, he would say to our children, if mother is happy, you know the same. Everybody happy, right? Everybody happy. And that's the truth. And you know what? That doesn't mean that you have to have a whole bunch. You can have less. But if you're happy in that home, everybody happy. You know, and I thank God for that. You know, and I thank God that he's an all-knowing God. And you know, and because he loves us and he wants us to get it right. Stop playing church. Stop coming here, you know, and then wondering why things are falling on us. You know, we have children, and we got a lot of children, and they don't